What's up subscribers, leftstickrightstick here again with another Dreams video. This is Community Creative Jam highlights with the theme Pirates this time. So think the high seas, pirate ships, skeletons, parrots or cannons and stuff like that. There are some really great entries and loads of entries in this CCJ. Many of the creations that were in the top 25 could also have been worthy of being in the top 10. So we're going to take a look at my favourite ones from those later on in this video. But first up, we're going to start off with the top 10. First up, we're taking a look at Rickety Rick, the Undead Pirate by Idol Orion. Now this was the only character puppet to have made it into the top 10, and it was a really cool puppet. It had this really novel idea of being able to throw your head off and control the head separately. So that was actually a really cool little power off. It had some really nice movements, but obviously there was some fine tuning that probably needed in the throw animation, but this was really cool, and the sculpting and the detail of the actual skeleton itself was pretty cool. Next up we have Pirates Rapid Rampage by Retsamehtmai, and I thought this was a really good use of the pirate theme in a mini game, because most of these levels that were entered into the jam were either sort of scenes, sculpts or characters, or like just walking in environments. This was actually using a mini game to actually using the pirate theme, which is very cool. Personally, I found the hit detection a bit too big. I couldn't get very far, and I'm blaming it on the hitboxes, just because I swear every time I try to get in between a really tight spot, it just wouldn't let me pass. But it was a very fun take on it, and I really liked the menu and the splash screen at the beginning of this mini game. It's really cool. Next we have Dragontraption plays Disembark by Retsamehtmai. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but this was a really cool creation, and was actually one of the two in the top 10 that I actually played during voting, and definitely one of my favorites. But what I do have an annoyance for about this is that it's got really great detail on the instruments, it's got great animation, and the music is nice as well. But then when you look into it more, the creators sort of made the exact same thing, well, with a different track, and changed the dragon's costume in the Wild West entry as well. So it kind of feels like it's not all that pirate themed anymore. So that's a bit of an annoyance for me of its placement in the top 10. But otherwise from that, this is a really cool creation. And I really like that you can actually zoom in on each individual part of instrument on the dragon when it's playing the music. So that's really cool. And you also get a free roam camera as well. And next we have Dead Man's Chest by MarkWunderbar. This was one of my favorite scenes of the top 10. And it really encapsulates the pirate theme in a very small and contained scene. Obviously, it just oozes pirateness with a dead skeleton pirate trying to protect his chest of treasure. This was really great looking. The whole underwater theme looked very cool. The only thing I would say that didn't look very nice in terms of the detail was the actual school of fish that was swimming past. I feel like I was kind of added on to give it the whole scene a bit more dynamicism, and it was just more of an afterthought, and not enough thought was put into it to flesh that bit out, because the rest of the detailing of the chest and the skeleton were actually pretty cool. But overall, it's still an amazing scene. And the next we probably have the most extensive of the entries in the top 10, and this was Captain Whitebeards Pirate Tavern. It was a surprisingly detailed ship. There's lots to walk around in this ship. Of the ones that I've seen, this was the one that you could walk around the most in terms of actually having detail within the ship. It rehashed a bear creation as its crewmates, which is pretty cool, and used different positions and different costumes as well added to it, which is very nice. Interior of this ship was amazing. I really like the whole level of detail on the bar bit at the bottom and the top bit where the cannons were, which actually worked as well, which is quite a nice surprise. And then there was also the sleeping area, so there's lots of different places and lots of thought gone into this creation, which is really cool, and definitely oozed a lot of pirateness in this. I would say one point that could be improved upon was maybe add some more interaction with some of the crew members, but that's just, if you want to make it even better. And probably the best actual fleshed out ship in the contest. Next up we have Skul Island by mbergs. This was a really amazing painterly scene. It had some really nice animation, some nice lighting, and it just looks epic. What I really liked about this level as well was that it actually showed the difference between adding the special effects and lighting and then just the sculpt on its own, how stark a difference it made. So it's not just, this is my amazing scene. It actually just helps show and sort of teach others, in my opinion anyways, that just because you've made this fantastic sculpt, there's still so much more layering that you can add to it that changes its look completely, and it was just beautiful. Next up we have Calypso Skul Cove. Now this was actually a really nice little sort of scene and nice little cove, but what really annoyed me was that there was just one singular fixed angle camera. You couldn't change cameras, and what felt a bit more misleading, I guess, was also the cover picture, the cover shot, actually looked better than the fixed angle shot that you play the level in, which is a real shame. So what I did, actually, I just went into remixing, which was great that I was able to do. I just deleted the camera and I just moseyed around, and there was actually quite a few other angles which actually looked better and more cool and more epic. And it's just a shame that the actual fixed camera that they had for the entry was not better chosen, really. But now we go on to the top 3, and in 3rd place is Captain William Stone by Max17, and this was an amazing sculpt. It had a very cartoony or painterly kind of vibe and style to it, and I kind of wondered if this was done after watching the masterclass by Kareem, because it feels like it's exactly following the process there. There's a great level of detail, and I like that all the detail is focused on the actual face rather than, and then the actual clothing and hats. They're sort of deliberately died down on the detail a bit, and there's actual different levels of detail throughout this bust, which actually is really cool, and it just looks really amazing and like a cool historical pirate. In 2nd place we have Ship at Sea of Monsters by Anton OD. Now this was actually a remix of Ship of Sea by Zeet, and what Anton OD did was just add some sea monsters, which actually fit very well. He actually changed the sort of, I wouldn't really say changed actually, it just made it feel even more epic, so it really elevated the creation by Z. It wasn't actually the only remix of Ship of the Sea in the contest. There were other people, other creators who also did the same thing, but this was definitely the best looking of the lot. I think some other entries kind of tried to overload many more other sculpts from other people, and it just didn't quite work as well, so this was very nice. I did like the added epicness that came off with the added sea monster in this scene. And then in 1st place we have Pirate Predicament by Perjoss. Now this was really cool, actually. I really like this. This is a really fun, not only is this like a really fun little scene, it's also pretty nicely detailed. It's kind of weird, but unique how it's just like a square block scene rather than, it's filling the whole screen. I like that it's cycled through camera angles, showing it and rotated the whole scene so we could actually see things from different angles, so we could see everything that's going on, because there's lots going on. It's highly detailed. And I was actually really surprised as well how when we're moving into the camera, looking into the ship itself, there was like a motion that opened up the ship that was really, really cool. Probably one of the highlights of this creation, to be honest. The actual motion of opening up the ship to go and to see the interior. But I guess one of the things though, because of that, it made me feel like, oh, why weren't there more motions, like more mini motions going on in the rest of the scene? Maybe like tentacles just moving slightly, fish going up and down a bit more. That's just, to elevate it even further. But this creation definitely deserves 1st place in this contest. It was amazing, really loved it, and all these top 10 levels were really cool as well. But then aside from these top 10, in the top 25 as well as the outside top 25, there are some other really cool entries that just simply may not have made it because of how the voting works. But before we go on to the other special mentions in the Pirate Jam, I hope you guys let me know in the comments below what you think about these levels. Did you like them? What didn't you like about some of these levels? And I hope you click that like button. So our first notable entry is VG Art Pirate Ship and Bananas by Orieto. This was very, very beautiful. Just looks so kind of photorealistic in some ways. Really highly detailed, great lighting, and it's technically actually just a remake of a stage from Donkey Kong. So it's really cool to see what Orieto is going to make from this. But this was just so beautiful. The lighting on the ship was just fabulous. Next up we have Crazy One-Eyed Madigan by Mad at Arms. This was quite a nice little cutscene like thing where you kind of pan through the waterfall, which is pretty cool. Nicely sculpted chair and treasures here with his skeleton. I think what really put me off though on this creation was the voice acting, or the voiceover for Madigan was terrible, to be honest. But apart from that, the level of detail, while not extremely huge, was perfect for this. And next we have Pirate Map by Chris Duke. This was really cool. I like the actual map was not just a map on its own, it actually had an interactivity. The boat actually moved around and it marked its spot. And you could look around in different sort of angles as well. You could look into the map, following the boat as it moved along the map. and weirdly enough it had this sort of moonlight view, which was kind of weird, but I mostly really like this whole motion bit, and you can just move between the actual views, which is really cool. And then next we have A Pirate and His Friend by Black Spirit. This was an amazing sculpt. It was a real shame that it didn't get fleshed out more in terms of like getting colored in rather than just being just a solid sculpt. But the sculpting detail here was amazing. I really hope Black Spirit, adds more to this and adds color to it, or someone adds color to it, because it would just take it to that next level and it'd be so cool. And obviously this friend is quite an interesting looking monster snake creature thing, and the pirate himself, looks pretty cool. Kind of something that you think would happen in one of those cartoon anime things. And then we have Noni 100% Skul and Treasure. This was a nice little scene set. We could actually move around ourselves looking at it. Nice lighting shining on the focal points. It would have been nice if the coins were a bit more detailed, but apart from that, actually everything looks very nice and fitting. It's just what you'd expect from a sort of pirate scene, I guess. This is what you'd think, so that's probably why I really like it that much, but obviously a bit more detail could have gone into the coins. Aside from that, it's great. And then we have Pirates of the Dreamiverse by Timbow999 and BirneBeatle81. This was a very sort of epic looking and look on a skull, basically. A skull is staked by his treasure, and this is really cool. Great atmosphere throughout this whole scene. A bit of a shame that it was probably quite dark, so you couldn't see the skull all too clearly, but I really like the atmosphere nonetheless. Maybe tone the brightness a bit further up would have made it a bit more appealing, but those flashes of bright light towards the skull actually was really cool, and it had some really nice detail, and the lightning was pretty cool as well. So this was actually one of my favorites from the top 10 entries, just because it just looks so cool and it really gives it for more kind of like ominous kind of feel compared to a lot of the other creations. Then we have TaleSong and Drifty254's Pirate Bar Rush. We're going onto a little kind of another mini game kind of thing where you have to just deliver beer to these pirate rats. What I really liked about it wasn't so much the actual gameplay itself, it was the actual ending cutscene once you die or once you failed to reduce the rowdiness. The actual bar fight was actually kind of like that idea, and it actually destroyed stuff as well as just knocking all the mice out as well. But it's a great way to sort of total and tally scores. I really liked it, so that's what I like most about that one. We have Flapjack and his Short Stack Crew by jeeringjoker. We looked at this before when it was just a still sort of sculpt, and you could just see from one angle his Short Stack Crew, but now we can see there's more added to the Short Stack Crew. There's actually an enemy that they're fighting against, and we're panning through this whole sculpture, which is really cool. I really like this, and this really could have been in the top 10 too. It's definitely come a long way from what we originally saw it as, Flapjack and his Short Stack Crew. I think maybe the animation would have been nice a bit longer, because some of the focal points weren't quite in focus in some of the panning sections. And then finally we have Gunslinger GK's pirate scene. What I really liked about this was that there were just so many different bits and bobs here, related to pirates, that it was just a joy to look through. Really nice individual sculpts, and they're all sculpted by Gunslinger GK. So I hope you enjoyed this Dreams Community Jam highlight. I hope you stay tuned to Left Stick Right Stick, where we bring you more amazing Dreams creations.